Gently close your eyes. Your fingers interlaced and placed in front. Your back, your neck and head erect. Your body is relaxed. Breathing is normal. Let us chant the mantra Om and then followed by the Shanti Pataka. Sahana vavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavaditamastu mavit vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti. Let us chant the 10 shlokas from the Atma Bodha. Om Pratah Smarami Hridhi Samspuradatma Tattvam Satchit Sukham Paramaham Sagatim Turiyam Yat Swapna Jagara Sushuptamaveti Nityam Tad Brahma Nishkalamaham Nacha Bhuta Sangaha Tapo Bhikshena Papanam Shantanam Vitaranginam Mumukshu Nama Pekshoyam Atma Bodho Vidhiyate Bodhonyas sadhanebhyo hi Sakshan mokshaika sadhanam Pakasya vahniva Vina moksho na siddhyati Avirodhitaya karma Na vidyam vinivartayet Vidya vidyam nihantyeva Tejastimira sangavat Parichinna iva jnanat Tannashe sati kevalaha Swayam prakashate hyatma Meghapayeshu maniva Ajnana kalusham jivam Jnanabhyasad vinirmalam Kritva jnanam swayam nashyet Jalam katakarenuvat Samsara swapnatulyo hi Ragadveshadi sankulaha Swakale satyavadbhati Prabodhe satyasadbhavet Tavat satyam jagat bhati Shuktikarajatam yatha Yavanna nyayate brahma सर्वाधिष्ठानमद्वयम् उपादानेऽखिलाधारे जगन्ति परमेश्वरे सर्गस्थितिलयान् यान्ति बुद्बुदानीव वारिणि सच्चिदात्मन्यनुस्यूते नित्ये विष्णौ प्रकल्पिताः व्यक्तयो विविधाः सर्वाः हाटके कटकादिवत् यथाकाशो ऋषिकेशः नानोपाधिगतो विभुः तद्भेदाद्भिन्नवद्भाति तन्नाश्ये केवलो भवेत्। The topics so far we have discussed are role of faith, not to criticize others or find faults, I know attitude, concept of devotion, have a purpose in life, do not justify your actions, what toys that bring joys, and the last session we were discussing desiring versus deserving. So, what is the concept of desires? What is the seat of desires? How does desire created in the mind? How does a desire gets fulfilled? How does the object of desire leave the person? How does a person retain an object of desire, etc.? So we have discussed all this in the previous session. There are two aspects to desires. The present desire that a person entertains is nothing but the product of the past. Past can be this lifetime, it can be this moment backwards. So when we say this moment backwards, from the time a person is born in this lifetime and the previous lives also. If you do not want to take the previous lives into account, since it is an hazy area, how the desires were materialized, how the desires generated, how the desires were produced, etc., then we can leave them, and from this lifetime onwards, in this lifetime, how when we entertain a desire, how it gets fulfilled. How does the object of desire reach the person? How does the object of desire is retained? And how a person loses one's object of desire. So if you are able to take this into consideration, then if you are able to extrapolate this same ideology and then go backwards. If you are not able to, please shelve it as of now. So we give example of a bank balance. Today's bank balance is from the time the account is opened with all the transactions made from the time is open till today. All the credits and the debits create the present bank balance. Same way, the present desires are created by, from the time we are born, all the transactions of life, the good deeds, the bad deeds, etc. So I said two aspects to desires. One is desires when it gets fulfilled, it breeds like bacteria, it multiplies like bacteria. We are not happy with, we are not content with just fulfilling the desire. When the desire is fulfilled, we want more and more and more. We are not just happy with, fulfilling one desire. The reason that a human being wants to experience infinite desires is the very basic principle that a human being unconsciously identify with the self, the Atman, which is infinite in nature, which is our original nature. Unconsciously identify with that infinite nature, therefore superimpose that unconscious thought of infinite nature on this desire to be fulfilled, which is infinite. So that happiness a person derive from the fulfillment of desire also wants to be infinite in nature. Because of this principle that a human being by nature is that infinite nature. So unconsciously superimpose this infinite nature on anything that the person experiences terrestrially in this world, be it sensual pleasure. A person is not just happy with, don't mistake me, just that fulfillment of one desire. A person wants again and again, infinite times. Same thing with reference to material wealth. A person is not just happy with the quantity of wealth, he wants infinite wealth. It goes on, ad infinitum. A person is not just happy with the infinite happiness at the mental level, fulfilling emotions. He wants more and more infinite emotional happiness. A person is not happy with just getting, acquiring 1 or 2 degrees. A person wants infinite knowledge. The same thing goes with spiritual knowledge also. Till that person attains that infinite nature, the Atman, the self, the pursuit continues. Foolishly, we are trying to gain that infinite happiness from the world. Any amount of fulfillment of the desires from the world is not going to fulfill him inwardly. So a person deriving sensual pleasure will want to contact the senses, but unfortunately the happiness does not increase, the happiness decreases, diminishes. It is called neutralization. A person wants infinite wealth, chase the desire, gets fatigued, come to an understanding that is not the way to gain happiness. And that understanding comes not at the initial stage of chasing the time of wealth, but much later. It may be a number of lives. So the realization dawns at that time, not before. And at that time, when the realization dawns on him or her, that person stops chasing that desire called wealth. Same thing goes with material, physical, emotional, intellectual, and the spiritual aspects of chasing a desire. And this is what Arthur Schopenhauer beautifully puts it, that it is difficult to find happiness within oneself, but impossible to find it anywhere else. So, the first aspect is the desire, you fulfill one desire, another desire is waiting. It goes on ad infinitum. And the second aspect is the desire being fulfilled today, how the present desire is the product of the past. The desire which is unfulfilled create future desires. So that past actions produce present desire, present unfulfilled desire produce future actions. So these are the two aspects to a desire. Desire multiplies, doesn't allow you to be happy, enjoy the present. At the same time, it produces future actions. Future actions produces future desires, and more the desires, more the action. More the action, more the unfulfillment. More the unfulfillment, more the desires. It continues. It's like a vicious cycle. It goes on. So it is that unfulfilled desire which is producing the future. You go to a particular location, a particular place, you want to enjoy nature. So you go to a hill station. You may stay there for a week. Before going there, you have collected all the data. How many days you're going to stay there? What are all the places to be visited? The weather conditions, etc. So, as per plan, you are meticulously following, the schedule there. Halfway through the, your vacation there, somebody, you meet someone there, and they say, have you been to that particular location? Have you been to that particular place? And that particular place is just now introduced by that person is not in your place of visit. Is not on your to-do list. You try to visit that place, but the time doesn't allow you. Therefore, that thought is planted, and slowly, the desire is now not fulfilled. You want to visit that place, but the time doesn't allow you. 7 days are over, your vacation time is over, you get back to your own place. Now what happens is that unfulfilled desire is still there. It is there playing in your mind all the time. Now you are engaged in your daily activity, daily routine. You're back to your own place. That unfulfilled desire is all the time reminding you that you've got to go there, till you go to that same location and fulfill that unfulfilled desire. It will not allow you to be a rest content. Once you fulfill the desire, you're happy, you're contented. Exactly same way, all of our actions in this world are because of those unfulfilled desires. And that is what this desiring is. And the third aspect for desire is, if any desire is not being fulfilled, the human psychology is, we keep blaming the external world for our unfulfillment. The world consists of objects and beings. Objects are all these lifeless, objects, the table, the chair, all these electronic equipments, etc. They don't have any life, they can't express, therefore there are no complaints. Beings are plants, animals and human. Plants have no complaint. You are going out of station for a week. You forgot to tell your neighbor to water your plants. You come back. The garden will not complain to you that you have not watered. The plants and trees will not complain. You may have a guilt feeling for those creatures. Since they can't express, there is no complaint. We don't know whether they are complaining or not. Animals also don't complain. Why are you not giving me the food which I like? Whatever food you are cooking, that you are serving me. You are going out of station for a week. The pet will not say, please take me along. When you come back after a week, the pet, the dog, the cat, they may express their feelings by, sometimes rolling over the master, leaking the master. The cat may go around the legs, raising their tail. They are trying to express themselves, their emotions, but not all creatures. So, objects, plants, and animals do not have any complaints. A highly developed organism, a highly developed species, human being, has the maximum complaint. So the desires here not fulfilled, blame the external world. So this is with reference to desiring. Now the concept of deserving. If a person entertains desire, since all our desires are not fulfilled, blame the world. Instead, if a person has that understanding that in economics we study demand and supply. Demand is the desire. Supply is the demand being met by the world. So if a person understands all my demands are not going to be fulfilled, then the right way is to reduce the demands, to reduce the desires. More the desires, more the unfulfillment. Less the desires, less the unfulfillment. No desires, then what is that to be fulfilled? So Swami Parsarthi always used to give this equation. Happiness is equal to number of desires fulfilled upon the number of desires entertained. Then how do you increase your left hand side happiness? Either you can increase the numerator or decrease the denominator. The problem here is, if you increase the numerator, the number of desires fulfilled, as we just now discussed, that you fulfill one desire, another desire is waiting. So what happens in that case? The more the fulfillment, more the desires cropping up. A person gets fatigued and happiness reduces. On the other hand, if a person leave the numerator, number of desires fulfilled, is focusing on the number of desires entertained. If you increase the numerator, number of desires fulfilled, then you are also creating future desires, the number of desires being entertained. So increase the numerator, automatically, unconsciously, the denominator also increases. It goes ad infinitum. Then the happiness, instead of increasing, it reduces. Instead, if the denominator is reduced, the number of desires entertained, then automatically what happens? The number of desires fulfilled is also reducing. In what way? From 500 desires, if a person reduced to 100 desires, the number of desires fulfilled or the number of desires entertained is only 100. Out of 100, imagine if 50 desires are fulfilled, then what happens? The person is focusing on trying to reduce the denominator, the number of desires entertained. So what happens is that a person comes to an understanding that if I am going to keep reducing the number of desires entertained, then a time comes where I am left with very few desires. Chances are focusing on fulfilling the few desires are more. And this is what is called as that extroverted tendency and the introverted tendency. Extroverted people are those, by definition, who possess more desires. So they are the ones who are forced to perform more actions in the world. The introverted people are those, by definition, that they have less desires. So they are contemplative, and the former, extroverted, are active. So these are the two types of people. The active type of people and the contemplative type of people. The active type of people have more desires. More the desires, more the action. We will come to that, how that person who perform action, the extroverted, become introverted. I'll come to that. So this contemplative type of person, what they do is, because less desires are there, they are able to contemplate on the reality. That is called as introverted worship, subjective worship. And they are the ones who understand the concept of deserving. So the extroverted people, when they have more desires, take a field of activity in which they pitch up a higher goal beyond selfish interest. So they are able to oblate it. In one discussion, one session, we were discussing about how that flower is picked up, turned upside down, turned upwards, and then it is offered at the feet of the Lord. And this is what that connection here is. So the person offers the desire at the feet of the altar of the ideal, which is beyond selfish interest. This way, the focus is not on the desire, the focus is on how that action is converted into worship. Therefore, the extroverted person is slowly, no doubt fulfilling the desire, is also burning the desire, reducing the desire. And over a period of time, when the person does this, then qualify for that contemplative type of person. Be introverted. And when the person become introverted, then that subjective worship continues. Oblating that very sight, that sound, etc., into the fire of knowledge. The person gain knowledge of higher values. There in the earlier case, a person was not able to sit and study, was not able to sit and contemplate, reflect. So the person was practically performing action. Now the person is qualified for study, reflection, contemplation, and ultimately meditation. And in this context, the deserving is a person is able to clearly understand for the type of action a person performs, for that a person is reaping the effects, and hence is able to connect the law of cause and effect. So whatever cause is sown in, seed is sown, with that seed, with the right type of mental attitude, a person is able to go through the effect. So if we have done exercises, physical exercises in the past, a person is healthy today. If a person has not exercised, a person is unhealthy today. If a person has gone to university, the person is educated today. If a person has attended to the inner personality in the past, spent time with the inner personality, the mind, the intellect, then the person is spiritually healthy today. Mentally sound. In that context, last class, we introduced that saying, we get what we deserve and not what we desire. So all our desires are not fulfilled. What desire we have taken upon, and we have paid the price of it as far as the inner personality is concerned. When we say the price here, that person has put in the tapas, that sadhana part of it. Only that portion, a person's desire gets fulfilled. Otherwise, it remains unfulfilled. And hence, a person is able to understand here that I get what I deserve, not what I desire. And this poem here, the olive tree, is talking about that. Sabayan wearing gold is talking about. Two hermits wanted olive oil for their prayer. They asked God for the olive sapling. God granted their wish. Both of them planted. One of them asked for rain, sunshine, froth, etc. God granted every wish, and ultimately that person's plant perished. Now this first hermit goes to the other hermit who has planted it and did what he's supposed to do, what he ought to do, and left the rest to God. And his plant grew and gave olive, it yielded olives. So what we learn from this is that we keep on desiring. We go to a place of worship, we ask for material wealth, we ask for physical health, emotional happiness. In India, we have a strange habit. I don't know about North India, South India, we have a strange habit. In fact, I myself have done this. Before the exams, not ordinary exams, when it comes to board exams, where the marks matter, the board exams, we go to the place of worship, Lord Ganapati, Ganesha. A person, God here, who's, relieving all obstacles. We do a puja by placing the pen with which we are going to write the exam at the feet of Lord Ganesha. The priest does the, puja, the ritual, and he hands over the pen. With that pen, we go to the exam hall and we write the exam. My point is, without preparing completely, in full, by doing this ritual, how are we going to write the exam? Lord Ganesha is not going to come and write the exam. The pen by itself is not going to write the exam. The pen, just because it has been placed at the feet of Lord Ganesha, you are not going to write the exam well. If that individual has done what he or she ought to do, prepared completely in full to the best of one's ability, and on the day of examination does this ritual, and this person takes that pen and goes and write the exam, then, though having written the exam, there are many factors which we don't have any control. On the day of exam, there could be a strike. The exam may be postponed. When you come to know the previous night that a question paper is being leaked and hence the examination is being postponed. So all the preparation, then that ritual, everything is a waste. You may fall sick, especially in South India, or for that matter, the whole of India. Examination, board exam is sometime in March, April and May. It's summertime and most of them fall sick. Either sunstroke or chicken pox or whatever. And you are forced to skip your exam. So the point here is, it is not just that ritual, it is not just that study, it is not just that preparation. You need preparation, you need that grace of God. At the same time, there are forces where you and I have no control, and that unseen hand, you leave it to God. You do what you ought to do with the best of your ability, and then pray to God, I have done my part, now you please take over. Mischief thou art afoot, take thou what course thou wilt, says Mark Antony in Julius Caesar. I have done my part, now it is up to you. Let the destiny take its course. Destiny here doesn't mean that, it is predestined. It is not that. I have done what I am supposed to do. The doctor says 2-3 hours of major surgery is being done, and he has done it to the best of his ability. And then he says, I have done my part, now you pray to God, so that the patient there is, is able to come out of that successfully. So that God is going to come and perform the operation. A person has been bitten by a mad dog. You can't take the person to a place of worship so that the God will save the person. You take the person to the hospital, give first aid or whatever, and then pray to God. And that's what this concept here is, deserving. Henry Thoreau beautifully puts it, whatever we leave to God, God does and blesses us. Whatever work we choose our own, God leaves us alone. Whatever we leave to God, God does and blesses us. Doesn't mean, it is only the grace. Whatever we are supposed to do, what we ought to do, we have to do it. And then the grace part of it. So it is not just our action alone, it is not just that grace alone, it is that mixture, combination. And that person who is able to understand this, understand that yes, it is not just entertaining the desire, it is the desire which is being directed towards the higher, and that person has done that sadhana part of it, oblated that action for the altar, towards the altar. And then God blesses us and the person deserves. I have come across many people saying that that person doesn't deserve the promotion, is good for nothing. Then how is it that person is being promoted? And the person who is fully, intelligent, talented, is all the time cribbing. I fully, richly deserve this, and I have not been given the promotion. I have studied well, I have done my part well, and yet I have not got the marks of what I got. I am supposed to get engineering admission, I am supposed to get medical admission, and I lost by 1 mark, 0.01%. I richly deserve this, but God has denied me that. Human being proposes, God disposes. What does it mean? We only entertain, we don't pay the price, we don't put that effort, that sadhana. Therefore, that stone which is fit for the wall is not found on the way. Richard Trench. And this is what the concept of desiring versus deserving. Deserve only, not desire. It's very difficult to, understand this, digest this. A person meets with an accident, loses a leg or an arm. Can you go and tell you richly deserve this? How the person will feel? A person is begging in the street. This is what you deserve. How can you go and justify this? And yet it is a fact. It is very difficult to digest this concept. And yet the statement is true. You get what you deserve, not what you desire. So it requires loads and loads of, understanding. So the person who is an extroverted all the time is complaining, is desiring, is complaining about the external world. And that person who has that, understand that yes, I deserve this, be it positive or negative. A lot of contemplation is required. A lot of patience is required in order to understand this and experience this concept of deserving. It is the ego, it is that complex which doesn't allow us to, experience this concept of deserving. And slowly we are moving into the next topic. The next topic will be ego and complexes. So it's our own desire, it is our own individuality, it is our own ego that is preventing us. It's like a cataract. It's like a veil, a covering, a curtain. Doesn't allow us to see. Therefore, that complaint, I'm sure, you would have come across this. John Milton, when he became blind, who had eyesight, instantly he complained. He's complaining God that how come, you have denied me eyesight? How can I express my talent, poetry? Quickly, he reconciles and he understands that, you have made me blind. Maybe even in that, some message is there. So what is it? He thought about it. That's what on his blindness, the sonnet, he talks about that. So that extroverted tendency was there. Immediately it was corrected, and that introverted tendency allowed him to understand why he became blind. They also serve who stand in wait. So the person who has eyesight also serves God. The person who has been denied the eyesight also serves God. That understanding, that deserving. So this concept of ego, an outstanding poem, The Mountain and the Squirrel. So the mountain is bragging, and I am very big, I can carry forest on my back. And talking to the squirrel, you're so small, what can you do? So the squirrel is the Vedantin here. Is able to, understand that yes, I am so small. So we have to take all sorts of things in order to take up, to know what that world is, what that weather is, what that,